Welcome back to the neighborhood, boys and girls. Our next guest is Briana, Heino. Briana, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you. We're going a little different route. You are the first wholesaler that we've had on the show. We normally do realtors and title and everything, but we want to go all across and cover everything. So for the novice person that's watching this, talk a little bit about what wholesalers do and how it's different from realtors and some of your day-to-day activities.
Okay, so mainly we find a seller. So we go direct to seller. We contact them after researching their property to see if they would like to sell for cash. So once they agree, we enter a contract that allows us to assign the contract to typically either a flipper or a holder, which is someone that just buys the properties to hang on to them for rentals or long-term investments. But recently we've been able to sell to end buyers through something brand new called a novation agreement.
Yes, we actually just had our first novation agreement through here that we were fighting with the underwriters, and now they understand it.
Difficult.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So do you do the contracts? Do you have an attorney do the contract? Do you have a template where it goes? Is it one fits all kind of thing?
Yeah, so we originally had our contracts drawn up by an attorney. So
Okay.
we have joint venture, assignment contract, termination, all those good things.
Okay.
And now we basically just use a template to fill it all out
Gotcha.
when the seller agrees.
So what happens if you went under contract and you couldn't find somebody? Is that ever happen, or you just got to work really hard to find somebody?
Yeah, so you always want to work really, really hard to find somebody because someone's trusting you with
Sure.
their house. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of these people are distressed, or maybe they really need the money. Some of them just, don't want the property anymore, but you always want to go to bat for your seller and really try to get them everything you talked about. Sometimes you have to renegotiate if you do the initial walkthrough and notice there's things like mold or structural damage to the property,
Right.
or sometimes really bad tenants. You'll have to renegotiate at that point as well.
Sure.
But if you end up under contract and can't close it, you would want to do so within a reasonable time
Sure.
period and let your seller know, and then you would send them a termination letter.
Gotcha. And a lot of times, what I've found in my history is there's someone who passes away, there's 3 or 4 heirs to the property. They don't want to put the money into it to make it market ready.
Right.
So they're not interested in putting $20,000 out to get back 80 to split up 4
Right.
ways. So they're like, hey, we'll just take a cash offer. Is that kind of...
Yeah, that's actually a really great way to do a novation agreement. We have one property right now that the seller entered a difficult time. Some personal things happened, and he's got a really gorgeous house, but he can't afford to keep it. It's going to go into foreclosure, and he also can't afford to completely fix the house by himself.
Right.
So that's kind of where we step in and we let him know the whole situation, and we agree on a number. We find the end buyer to move into it, and we do all of the repairs ourselves and cover, closing costs out of our portion, etc., in order to
Nice.
get it closed.
Nice. And have you had any problems with people not accepting your assignment kind of thing? Like title companies issues kind of banging together? Not to bring up any wounds or anything like that, but I'm just trying to think of, what are all the horror stories I've heard from different friends that wholesale?
I mean, we could probably do like a full 30 minutes just talking about like the horror stories of like the things, but every horror story turns into like a really great learning experience.
Sure.
So even, being screamed at by a seller as you're moving everything out of the property to find out that the buyer wired their deposit to a scammer in another country and the whole deal can't close, you learn things.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we have a really great title company that we use.
Okay.
And we really trust them with everything we do, and they know us and work really well with us. But we've worked with other ones that kind of disclose a little bit too much to people involved, and it gets them more confused than anything else, and it ends up just throwing hiccups in. We've had a lot of title companies refuse to work with us because they won't do assignments.
Yep.
So...
Have been on that end as well.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so let's talk a little bit pre-wholesaler.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about your journey from, you graduated school or you got out of school and did whatever you're doing to get in here. How did you get here? What did you do pre-wholesaling? And I don't think most people probably 10 years ago, if I asked you what you'd be doing, wholesaler would have been like 87th on the list of things.
I mean, I didn't know what a wholesaler was a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I would have, honestly, I was just very confused at the thought of what it is. But so I graduated high school, and I've been with my husband since I was 15. We had our first when I was 17.
Nice.
So I graduated, had my second at 19, and at 21 I started a cleaning company with one of my friends, and we did that for a few years. We generated, we did all of our own marketing, books, everything, had completely full schedules. And then a few years in, I wanted to have another baby, so I gave her my half of the business. About a year later, she sold it, and I was a stay-at-home mom up until when I started this 11 months ago.
Okay.
And my husband quit his job 10 months ago,
okay.
and now he works with the business too. And
nice.
Also wholesales.
How did the business come about? Were you thrown into it? Did somebody say, hey, I got this really great idea you should listen to? Or how did you find out?
We have these really great friends, and I saw what they were doing. I mean, driving these gorgeous cars and, just really living well. And they're very similar to us, like kids young, all that good stuff. Right. So I was like, what are you doing? And he said he was a wholesaler, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell is that? Like, I just could not wrap my head around, like, the process of it. And, a couple months later, I was really thinking about it, and I just decided to, like, read everything I could, watch every video I could find, and just kind of figure out, like, how it works, So after that, I jumped right in. He kind of showed me the ropes, and we're actually business partners now, but he still shows me new things.
Sure.
And, it was 6 weeks of sitting there doing that direct-to-seller marketing and not getting anything, sending out contracts and kind of messing them up and messing up the conversations. And 6 weeks in, I sold a deal for my partner and got my first check. And it was $5,000, and that was like the most exciting moment to me, because I'm like, oh my God.
The light went on right there.
It was within like a week of that specific deal that I was able to make that money. And as soon as I saw it was like really, really possible, it was game over.
Then you're into it.
Yeah.
So you have 3 kids now?
I have 3 kids.
Are you done having kids?
I'm so done having
kids. You're so
kids.
done having kids?
They're amazing, but I'm good.
I am my wife is due again with our 7th combined child.
Congratulations.
I love kids. Thank you very much. We have, between the two of us, she has 3 and I have 3. We have 5 girls and 1 boy. Oh my God. And I thought we were done as well, and God played a little trick on us. But I always wonder that, are people done? I was with someone else from a group that I belong to, and her husband is 53. And they just had another child. I was like, sweet. So I'm not like the oldest dude in the room to have it. So it was all good. So you're done. You're done on that
I'm
front.
So done.
You're done on that
good.
front. All right.
I'm good.
Okay. Even if you do like really great on wholesaling for a couple years, you won't be like, well, get that baby fever maybe. No.
No. I mean, and the goal is to always wholesale, like to always keep this portion of the business going. Hopefully, we can, at some point over the next year or so, train some people to do it the way we do.
Sure.
But we really want to get into the buying portion of things. So we're hoping in the next 6 to 8 months we can buy our
as in
next
flipping
property.
Or as in buy and hold to keep for rentals?
I think the next one will probably be a hold, because we're going to rent out our current home. And from there, I think we'll flip.
Nice.
Unless a really good flip deal comes along.
That's the funny argument. Not argument. I wouldn't say I don't have arguments. I have discussions. But a bunch of my friends are wholesalers, and a bunch of my friends are realtors, and I know they flip as well, and I've done some flips. And they're always like, hey, are you looking at this? And I'm like, well, dude, if it was a really good deal, you would keep it. You know what I mean?
I know.
But I had a heart-to-heart discussion with one of my friends, and he's like, look, I can only flip so many houses. So I would never lie to you and tell you that I'm going to give you a home run, because I keep the home runs. But if you want to have doubles, I come across a bunch of doubles. So I'll sell you the doubles, and I keep the home runs, and you're still going to make money, and you can do whatever. And I was like, well, that makes sense now. I don't feel like you're giving me the dirt. It's just whatever, not the great ones.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
that's kind of where the connections come in, because I feel like wholesalers kind of get a really bad rap. Sometimes people, a lot of real estate agents and different parts of real estate, they're not big fans of us.
Well, it depends where they're at. You know what I mean? Like certain realtors that work for certain brokerages are told certain things, and they're like, oh, and just like there are scummy realtors out there, there are scummy wholesalers.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are scummy loan officers. There are people that give you a bad name. So
Right.
your own inside culture is a really big deal, of course. You know what I mean? And you can always find a bad. There's bad car dealers. There's bad everything.
Yeah.
But if you operate with integrity and honesty, that's what really
Exactly, and
counts.
we really focus on building those good connections, specifically with the buyers. The sellers, you always want to have a good connection, but the buyers, you really want to keep them happy and go,
Nice.
get them good,
Yeah. Do you belong to any organizations, networking groups, investor groups, anything like that?
Not currently, no.
Okay. No.
No.
We're going to get you in some of them. This is your first interview. We're going to get you in some networking groups. I would tell you, there's a guy, if you watch all the interviews, we just put it out. Tyler Arjun is his name. He's my man. He runs like 4 or 5 different networking groups. He's in my BNI. He does something like 2 or 3 days a week, and he's really shown me not like just like, oh, you're going out for drinks or whatever, or oh, you're going out every night and having dinner. Like he makes networking a profession, and now like 100 people, when they say homeowners insurance, they're like, oh, Tyler.
That's
So
awesome.
We're gonna force you in there.
Awesome.
All right, now we're gonna talk forward. We talked backwards. We're gonna talk forward. Let's go 2 years from now, September 2024.
Okay.
Where is Briana Heino? And give me some check boxes, some goals, or some things that you're definitely going to achieve in the next 2 years.
So I actually turn 27 next week, and
Okay.
one of my big goals, I would call it a goal, but it's not a goal because it's going to happen,
Okay.
is to be a millionaire by 30.
Okay.
So even if that's just owning $1 million in real estate by 30, I am going to do that. So
All right.
I'm hoping within this next year I can get to somewhere between 500 to 700,000.
Okay.
And
Put
Be
it
right
out there
there.
in the universe,
Oh,
make
yeah.
it happen. It is what
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
That's how you get it.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and then what about like a little bit? You don't have to get super crazy personal, but what do you do in your personal life to like fill your soul, or to warm you? Whether it's a hobby, or some people play music, some people play sports. What do you do for like your Briana time? It's not.
Well, I'm probably going to sound a little insane, but I go to the gym every day and I make sure to take care of myself and my family and all of that, of course, but I spend all of my time like learning, like reading, watching videos,
Okay.
trying to develop different ways of going about things, or learn about the next steps and like growing and scaling and becoming more profitable.
Mhm.
So I really spend like
podcasts.
all my time. Yeah.
Who's your favorite podcast?
Well, I love Gary Vee. I know
Okay.
he's not really a podcast, but
No, he is. Gary,
I love the way
Gary
he,
does
like,
a bunch of
yells at
different
you.
stuff. I
Yeah.
love Gary. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I like TTP. There's a psychologist he has come on his episode sometimes,
Mhm.
and the psychologist was really beneficial for me to like kind of get the background in
Okay.
how to speak to someone the right way
Sure.
so that you can communicate well. But then I watch like fun ones like Full Send. And,
Yeah. Yeah. What about books? Are you a reader? Are you an audiobook or
I do both.
Okay.
So while I'm working during the day, I do audiobooks,
Mhm.
and I actually just bought 3 new books yesterday.
Okay.
Couldn't decide.
Who are they?
I bought The Psychology of Money.
Okay.
I bought it's like The Genius Salesman or something like that,
Mhm.
and then I bought Girl Stop Apologizing, because you gotta
Okay.
have one good for
Yeah.
the soul.
Gotta go. Absolutely. Awesome. All right, now we're gonna go with your one personal question that we do.
Okay.
We're going to do the same one we just did because that's the one that makes sense. If you could have a half an hour conversation with any person, alive or dead, that you knew could be somebody famous, whoever throughout history, who would you want to sit down with for a half an hour and give me one question that you'd ask them?
I think Robert Kiyosaki,
Okay.
and I don't really know that I could limit it to one question, but I think that I would kind of like lay out for him like exactly where I am like in the business world, and just tell him to
He's
let me know.
He's
Like,
pretty
just
amazing. He's pretty
let me
amazing
know.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, Briana. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you so
coming on.
much.
We'll be right back with the next guest on Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood.